Admiral James Porter stood at the main window of Earth Defense Force headquarters, his weathered hands clasped behind his back. The sight before him would have seemed impossible just 24 hours ago. Massive alien ships hung in Earth's orbit like dark clouds before a storm, their metallic hulls reflecting the sunlight. "Sir, they're broadcasting again," said Lieutenant Wilson from his station. The young officer's voice trembled slightly, betraying the fear they all felt. Porter turned away from the window, his face set in grim determination. "Put them through." The main screen flickered to life, showing a creature that looked almost like a tall human, except for its silver skin and completely black eyes. The alien spoke in perfect English, though its tone dripped with contempt. "This is High Commissioner Grant of the Galactic Council. We have reviewed your application for membership, Primitives. The Council has reached its decision." Porter's jaw tightened. They hadn't sent any application. The aliens had simply appeared yesterday, demanding Earth prove its worth to join their council. "Your species has barely mastered basic spaceflight," the High Commissioner continued. "You still used fossil fuels. Your nations fight among themselves. You are divided, primitive, and dangerous. The Council has declared Earth unfit for membership." "We didn't ask to join your council," Porter replied firmly. "You came to us." Silence. The alien's black eyes seemed to grow darker. "The Council has spoken. To protect the civilized galaxy from your barbaric ways, we are implementing an immediate blockade of your solar system. No Earth vessel will be permitted to travel beyond Mars. Any attempt to break this blockade will be met with force." Around the control room, dozens of officers watched in stunned silence. Humanity's first contact with alien life, and they were being treated like children put in timeout. "You can't do this," Porter said, keeping his voice steady despite his rising anger. "Earth is a sovereign world. We have rights." "Rights?" The alien laughed, a sound like grinding metal. "You have the right to remain in your cradle until you learn civilization. The Council has endured for 50,000 years. We have guided hundreds of species to enlightenment. But you humans," the High Commissioner's face twisted in disgust, "you are too aggressive, too unpredictable. The Council will not risk letting you contaminate the galaxy with your violent nature." On the tactical displays around the room, more alien ships appeared. They were positioning themselves in a complex web around Earth's orbital paths. The blockade was already beginning. "This conversation is over," the alien declared. "Remain within your bounds, Primitives. Any Earth ship that approaches the blockade will be destroyed. This is your only warning." The screen went dark. Porter turned to his staff, seeing the mix of fear and anger on their faces. They had trained for alien contact, but not like this. Not for being caged in their own solar system. "Sir," Wilson spoke up again, "what do we do?" The Admiral walked to his command chair, his movements deliberate and calm. Inside, his mind was racing, analyzing options. The alien ships were far beyond Earth's military capability. At least, beyond what the Council knew about. "Send word to the bunker," he ordered quietly. "Tell Dr. Wells it's time to wake up our secret weapon." "The Nevada Project, sir." Wilson's eyes widened. "But that's exactly what we've been saving it for." Porter allowed himself a small smile. The Council thought they knew everything about Earth. They thought humans were primitive, helpless creatures to be locked away and forgotten. They were about to learn how wrong they were. "Send the message," Porter commanded. "And get me a secure line to all Earth Defense Force commanders. If the Council wants to see primitives, we'll show them primitives. But they're going to learn what happens when you back a primitive creature into a corner." The blockade ships continued their patrol, their crews confident in their superiority, unaware that deep beneath the Nevada desert, humanity's greatest secret was about to change everything. Deep beneath the Nevada desert, in a facility that officially didn't exist, Dr. Amanda Wells stood before a massive piece of alien technology. The scout ship had crashed here 30 years ago, and humanity had kept it secret all this time. While the world above worried about the Council's blockade, she allowed herself a small smile. "Power up the prototype," she ordered. The underground hangar hummed to life, lights flickering on to reveal what looked like a normal Earth space shuttle. But appearances were deceiving. "Dr. Wells," a voice called from behind her. Admiral Porter strode into the hangar, his uniform slightly dusty from the desert journey. "Tell me you have good news." "Better than good," she replied, leading him toward the ship. "Remember how the Council ships seemed to appear out of nowhere yesterday? We finally know why." She pressed her hand against the shuttle's hull, and the metal rippled like water. "They use phase shift technology for their cloaking. And thanks to our crashed friend here, we've had 3 decades to figure out how it works." Porter's eyes widened. "You mean we can duplicate it? Better yet, we've improved it." Amanda typed a code into her tablet, and suddenly the shuttle vanished completely. Not even a shimmer remained to show its location. The Council's sensors can detect their own cloaking technology. But ours, they'll never see us coming. The Admiral walked forward, reaching out until his hand touched invisible metal. "How many ships can we outfit with this? We've been secretly installing the systems in every new Earth Defense Force vessel for the past 5 years. 200 ships ready to go." She paused, checking another reading. "The Council has no idea we recovered their scout ship. Their scans show we're decades away from this level of technology. Because that's what we wanted them to see." Porter nodded slowly. "What about weapons?" Amanda led him to a second hangar. This one contained rows of missiles, each glowing with a faint blue light. Their shields operate on a specific frequency. These beauties can pass right through them. One hit will disable any Council ship without destroying it. We're not barbarians, after all. She smiled at the irony. "The Council thinks they're dealing with cavemen who barely understand spaceflight," Porter said, picking up one of the smaller missiles. "How quickly can we deploy?" "The ships are ready now. We've been running drills for years, preparing for first contact." She brought up a holographic display showing Earth's fleet positions. Most people thought we were crazy, preparing for alien invasion. But some of us knew better. We knew they were out there. And we knew we had to be ready. Porter's communicator beeped. "Sir," Wilson's voice came through. "The Council ships are starting to position weapons platforms around Earth's orbit. They're setting up permanent blockade stations." "Perfect timing," Amanda said. "Let them think they have us trapped. It will make it even better when we show them what humanity can really do." Porter turned to face the rows of waiting ships, each one invisible to normal eyes, but present in Amanda's holographic display. "How many crew do we need?" "Minimal. Most systems are automated. We can launch with skeleton crews of 5 per ship." She checked her calculations. "We can have the entire fleet ready in 6 hours." "Do it," Porter ordered. "But first, send a message to all Earth governments. It's time they knew what we've been working on down here." He smiled grimly. "The Council wants to see primitives. Let's show them what primitives can do when they're backed into a corner." As alarms began to sound throughout the facility, Amanda watched her teams rushing to their positions. For 30 years, they had worked in secret, preparing for this moment. The Council thought they were containing a primitive species. Instead, they had given humanity exactly the excuse it needed to reveal its true strength. "One more thing, Admiral," she said, pulling up another set of readings. "We detected some interesting communications from the Council fleet. It seems not everyone up there agrees with the High Commissioner. Several smaller species in their alliance think this blockade is a mistake." Porter's smile widened slightly. "Sounds like humanity might find some friends out there after all, once we show them what we can do." Above them, the Council ships continued their patrols, unaware that Earth's response was about to change the galaxy forever. Captain Michael Stone sat in the command chair of the EDF Ghost, Earth's most advanced stealth ship. His vessel, along with 50 others, moved silently through space. Thanks to Dr. Wells' improved cloaking technology, they were completely invisible to the Council's blockade. "All ships report ready," His tactical officer whispered, though there was no need to be quiet in space. Everyone was feeling the tension of humanity's first real space battle. Target locations confirmed, reported Lieutenant Rogers from the sensor station. Council ships are exactly where we want them. Stone nodded, watching the enemy vessels through his view screen. The alien ships were massive, each one nearly the size of a small city. They looked impressive, but Stone knew that bigger didn't always mean better. "Remember the plan," he said to his crew. "We're not here to destroy them. Disable their ships, show them our strength, and give them a chance to surrender." He paused, allowing himself a small smile. "Let's show these aliens what primitives can do." The council ships floated lazily in their patrol pattern. Their crews were probably bored, thinking they were just babysitting a primitive planet. They had no idea they were surrounded. "All ships, execute Operation Ghost Fleet," Stone ordered. 50 Earth vessels decloaked simultaneously, appearing in a perfect sphere around the largest council ship. Before the aliens could react, each Earth ship launched 2 of Dr. Wells' special missiles. The blue glowing weapons passed straight through the council's shields, as if they weren't there. They struck with surgical precision, disabling engines, weapons, and communication systems. In less than 30 seconds, the council's flagship was dead in space. "First target neutralized," Rogers reported, excitement in his voice. "No casualties on their side. Their crew is intact but stranded." Stone didn't waste time celebrating. Moved to secondary targets, same pattern. The Earth fleet vanished again, only to reappear around their next targets. 2 more council ships were disabled before the aliens even began to respond. "Sir," Rogers called out. "They're trying to send a distress signal. Their backup ships are moving to attack positions." "Let them come," Stone replied calmly. "Tactical, show me their formation." The display showed 20 council ships moving to surround the Earth fleet's last known position. Their formation was perfect, textbook military strategy, and completely useless against an invisible enemy. "They still think we're behind them," Stone noted. "Move all ships above their formation. Fire when ready." Another wave of blue missiles streaked through space. The council ship's shields flared uselessly as their systems went dark. Ship after ship lost power, left floating helplessly in space. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission," Rogers reported. "It's from one of the smaller council ships, but they're not asking us to surrender." "Put it through," Stone ordered. An alien face appeared on the screen, but unlike the High Commissioner, this one looked almost happy. "Earth vessels, this is Captain Bright Star of the Free World ship Morning Light. We've been waiting for someone to stand up to the council. Request permission to stand down and open diplomatic channels." Stone leaned forward in his chair. "You're surrendering." "Better." The alien's expression was definitely a smile now. "We're offering to join you. Many of the smaller species in the council have been waiting for a chance to break free. You just gave us that chance." More signals started coming in. Other ships were standing down, their crews eager to side with Earth against the Council's arrogance. "Captain," Rogers called out, "the High Commissioner's ship is powering up its engines. They're trying to run." Stone considered his options. Let them go. Let them tell the Council what happened here. Let them explain how their primitive enemies defeated their best ships without causing a single casualty. He opened a channel to all ships in the area, disabled and active alike. "This is Captain Stone of Earth. To all Council ships, your blockade has failed. To everyone else, Earth welcomes those who would be allies rather than oppressors. The age of Council dominance is over." As he finished speaking, the High Commissioner's ship jumped away into faster-than-light travel, running to report their defeat. Stone watched it go, knowing this was just the beginning. The real fight for Earth's place in the galaxy was about to start. Ambassador Thomas Reed walked into the massive council chamber, his steps echoing across the silent hall. Thousands of alien representatives watched from their seats, which rose in great circles like a giant stadium. At the center, the High Council members sat on their elevated platforms, trying to look powerful despite their recent defeat. High Commissioner Grant stood up, his silver skin now looking dull and tired. The human speaks for a race that has attacked council ships and disrupted galactic peace. Why should we listen to anything he has to say? Reed placed a small device on the speaking platform. A hologram appeared, showing records from hundreds of council meetings. Because, he said calmly, we have proof that the council is corrupt. Gasps and whispers filled the chamber. Reed continued, his voice carrying to every corner of the room. For the past 30 years, we haven't just been studying your technology. We've been watching you. That scout ship that crashed on Earth, it was running from you. Its crew were whistleblowers, trying to expose the council's crimes. The High Commissioner's black eyes widened. These are lies. Are they? Reed pressed a button, and new images appeared. The council claims to guide younger species, but instead, you exploit them. You steal their resources. You keep them weak so they can't challenge you. He looked around the chamber. How many of you have suffered under their rules? How many have been called primitive while the council took everything from your worlds? More whispers, louder now. Many representatives were nodding, especially those from smaller worlds. Captain Brightstar stood up from his seat. The human speaks truth. The free worlds have witnessed this corruption for centuries. We support Earth's evidence. Other representatives began standing, adding their voices. The council members shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Even if what you say is true, another council member spoke, what gives Earth the right to challenge our authority? We have ruled for 50,000 years. And that's exactly the problem, Reed replied. You've ruled so long you've forgotten how to progress. While you sat in your power, believing you knew everything, Earth kept learning, kept improving. He smiled. We took your cloaking technology and made it better. We developed weapons that can disable ships without killing crews. We did in 30 years what you couldn't do in 50,000. He turned to address the entire chamber. Earth doesn't want to destroy the council. We want to reform it. Create a system where all species have a voice, where advancement comes from merit, not age, where cooperation replaces corruption. You would throw the galaxy into chaos, Grant shouted. No, Reed countered. We would bring real progress. Already, 20 species have signed alliance treaties with Earth. More are asking to join every day. They see what we see. A chance for real change. The chamber erupted in debate. Reed watched as more representatives moved to support Earth's position. The council members whispered urgently among themselves, seeing their power base crumbling. We demand a vote. Brightstar called out. Let all species decide the future of the galaxy. Reed held up his hand for silence. Before you vote, know this. Earth's fleet remains active. We could have destroyed the Council's ships, but we chose not to. We showed mercy when you showed none. Remember that when you decide which future you want, one of oppression or one of cooperation. The council chamber descended into chaos as representatives began voting. Reed stood calmly at the center, watching as centuries of corrupt rule began to crumble. Earth hadn't just won a military victory. They were winning the political battle too. His communicator beeped quietly. Sir, Admiral Porter's voice came through. Our ships report more council vessels approaching. Should we prepare for combat? Reed watched the voting numbers climbing on the chamber's display screens. More and more species were siding with Earth. No need, Admiral, he replied. I think we're about to see a peaceful change of power. The old council is about to learn that true civilization isn't about age or tradition. It's about justice and progress. Above him, the votes continued to pour in, each one another nail in the coffin of the council's corrupt regime. Commander Lisa Hart stared at the tactical display in Earth Defense Force headquarters. 500 council warships had just appeared at the edge of the solar system. The old council leaders, desperate to keep their power, had called in their entire reserve fleet. They're not even trying to negotiate. she said, watching the massive fleet approach. "They're coming in hot." Admiral Porter stood beside her, his face grim. "They're desperate. Desperate leaders make desperate choices." He turned to his communications officer. "Send word to all Earth ships and our allies. Execute Defense Plan Delta." The Council fleet moved in a perfect formation, their ships arranged in traditional attack patterns that hadn't changed in thousands of years. That was their first mistake. "Poor bastards," Hart muttered. "They still think size and numbers will win this fight." Earth's defense grid activated. Hundreds of small satellites, previously invisible, appeared around the planet. Each one was equipped with Dr. Wells' shield-piercing technology. "Council fleet is launching fighters," reported Lieutenant Wilson. "Thousands of them." Hart smiled. "Right on schedule. Launch our drones." From Earth's surface, tens of thousands of small automated drones shot into space. Each one was barely larger than a car, but they moved with incredible speed and precision. The Council fighters, designed to battle large ships, couldn't track the tiny, agile targets. "Council ships are firing their main weapons," Wilson called out. "Energy readings are off the charts." Massive beams of energy shot toward Earth, enough firepower to crack a planet's crust. But as they approached Earth's atmosphere, they hit something unexpected. "Energy dispersion field holding," Hart reported. "Thanks to that crashed scout ship, we knew exactly what weapons they'd use. Dr. Wells designed the perfect counter." The Council's energy weapons dissipated harmlessly against Earth's invisible shield. Their mighty fleet had just thrown their best punch, and Earth hadn't even flinched. "Now," Porter commanded, "show them ours." Earth's defensive satellites fired simultaneously. Thousands of small blue missiles streaked through space. The Council fleet's shields flared uselessly as ship after ship lost power. "Sir," Wilson's voice was excited, "our allies are arriving." Ships from the free worlds and other former Council species appeared behind the Council fleet. The corrupt leaders had just lost their only advantage: numbers. "This is Commander Hart to all Earth forces," she broadcast. "Remember our mission. Disable, don't destroy. Show them the difference between power and strength." The battle that followed was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Earth's small, agile ships danced between the massive Council vessels. Their advanced cloaking technology let them appear and disappear at will, striking from impossible angles. The Council fleet, trained to fight traditional battles in open space, couldn't adapt. Their rigid formations fell apart as Earth's forces attacked from all directions at once. "Council flagship is targeting our command center," Wilson reported. Hart watched as the massive ship turned toward Earth. "They still don't get it, do they? Lieutenant, activate the ground defense." As the Council flagship charged its main weapon, the Nevada desert below them suddenly shifted. Hidden doors opened, revealing massive gun batteries that had been buried for decades. "Fun fact about us primitives," Hart said, smiling. "We're really good at preparing for a fight." The ground batteries fired, their shots perfectly synchronized. The Council flagship's shields collapsed, and its weapons went dark. The mighty vessel drifted helplessly in space. "Council fleet is in full retreat," Wilson reported. 80% of their ships are disabled. The rest are running." Porter nodded slowly. "Send a message to their remaining ships. Tell them Earth will accept their surrender. Tell them we'll even help repair their ships, if they're willing to talk peace." Hart watched as the battle ended. Earth's first major space battle had lasted less than an hour. The Council's mighty fleet, terror of the galaxy for 50,000 years, had been defeated by the very primitives they had tried to cage. "Sir," Wilson called out, "we're getting messages from across the galaxy. More species want to join our alliance. They say—" He paused, smiling. "They say it's time for a new age in the galaxy." Hart looked at the disabled Council ships floating in space. "Well," she said, "we did promise them change." General Robert Allen watched the holographic display showing events across the galaxy. What had started as Earth's fight for freedom had become something much bigger. Hundreds of species were rising up against the old Council's control. Another sector has declared independence, reported his aide. The mining worlds of the Centauri arm are rejecting Council authority. They're requesting Earth's protection. Alan nodded, updating the galaxy map. Green lights showed freed systems, while red marked those still under Council control. The green was spreading like wildfire. Any violence? He asked. After Earth's victory, they had made one rule clear to all their allies: no killing unless absolutely necessary. None, sir. They're using our tactics. Disable ships, secure facilities, give enemies a chance to surrender. The aide smiled. Everyone saw how Earth won. They're following our example. A communication window opened, showing Captain Brightstar. The alien commander had become one of Earth's strongest allies. General Allen, the Free World's fleet has secured the Council's main shipyards. Their workers are joining us. They say they've been waiting centuries for this chance. Excellent work, Captain. Allen studied the tactical display. How are they taking to the new technology? Better than expected. Dr. Wells' improvements to the cloaking systems are easy to install. The Council kept this technology restricted to their own ships, but now, Brightstar's expression showed satisfaction. Now everyone can have it. Another screen lit up. This time it showed a Council mining world where massive machines were grinding to a halt. The workers were walking out, refusing to supply resources to their former masters. Sir, his aide called out, incoming message from the Galactic core worlds. They're asking for Earth to mediate their transition to independence. They say they trust us because we showed mercy to our enemies. Alan remembered the Council's desperate attack on Earth, how they had tried to destroy an entire planet rather than accept change. Earth could have responded with equal violence. Instead, they had chosen a better way. General. A new voice cut through the command center. The Council's last holdout station is broadcasting. They're requesting terms for surrender. The main screen showed the station, a massive structure floating in deep space. Once it had been the symbol of the Council's absolute power. Now it was one of their last remaining strongholds. Put them through, Alan ordered. High Commissioner Grant appeared on screen. The once proud alien looked tired, defeated. Earth, your victory is complete. The Council, the old Council, accepts reality. We request terms. Alan straightened in his chair. This was the moment that would define Earth's role in the galaxy. Our terms are simple, he said. Step down. Accept the new system. Share your knowledge freely with all species. Do these things, and you'll be treated fairly, just as we've treated all our former enemies. You would show mercy, even now. Grant seemed confused. Mercy isn't weakness, Commissioner. Earth proved that. Every ship we disabled instead of destroying, every crew we spared instead of killing, they're all joining us now. That's real power. Not fear, not control, but respect. Around the command center, more reports were coming in. The revolution was spreading faster than anyone had expected. Species that had been enemies for thousands of years were working together, united by Earth's example. Sir, his aide reported, reading the latest updates. The last Council loyalist fleets are standing down. The revolution, it's over. We won. Alan shook his head. No, the galaxy won. Earth just showed them how. He opened a channel to all Earth forces and allied ships across the galaxy. This is General Allen. The last Council forces have surrendered. To all ships and stations, cease combat operations. Begin humanitarian aid and reconstruction efforts. The war is over. As cheers erupted around him, Alan looked at the galaxy map one last time. The red dots were fading away, replaced by green. Not through destruction, but through change. Earth hadn't just defeated the Council. They had shown the galaxy a better way. Sir, his aide said quietly, what happens now? Alan smiled. Now, now we help build something new, something better. After all, that's what humanity does best. Ambassador Thomas Reed stood once again in the great council chamber, but everything was different now. The old elevated platforms were gone, replaced by a circular table where representatives from all species sat as equals. The chamber itself had been renamed the Galactic Assembly Hall. 1 year, he said, looking around at the gathered representatives. 1 year since Earth was called primitive. Since we were told to stay in our corner of the galaxy. He smiled. What a difference a year makes. The chamber was packed with delegates from over 1,000 worlds. Former council species sat next to their old primitive neighbors. The silver-skinned former council members were there too, now just one voice among many. The last reports are in, announced Captain Brightstar, now serving as head of the new Galactic Defense Force. The technology sharing program is complete. All member worlds now have access to advanced shielding, cloaking, and medical technologies. The age of secrets is over. Dr. Amanda Wells stepped forward next. Her work had helped start this revolution, and now she was leading the galaxy's biggest science project. Our joint research teams have made amazing progress. By combining knowledge from all our species, we've made more advances in 1 year than the old council made in a century. Former High Commissioner Grant, now just a regular delegate, stood up. I must admit, we were wrong about humans. We thought sharing power would bring chaos. Instead, he gestured around the chamber. It has brought progress beyond our dreams. Reed nodded. The former council members who had chosen to embrace change had found a new place in the galaxy. They had learned that giving up control didn't mean losing everything. The trade reports are excellent, called out another delegate. With free exchange of goods and ideas between all worlds, poverty is decreasing everywhere. The old council kept worlds dependent on them. Now everyone can grow strong together. Admiral Porter, attending as Earth's military advisor, added his report. The new combined fleet is working better than we hoped. Ships from different species serving together, learning from each other. They're not just protecting the galaxy, they're building trust between worlds. Reed looked at his notes for the next announcement. This was the moment they had all worked for. The Assembly has one final vote today, he said. We've proven that cooperation works better than control. That progress comes from sharing, not hoarding. That true civilization isn't about age or tradition. It's about how we treat each other. He pressed a button, and a hologram appeared in the center of the chamber. It showed the new Galactic Charter. This document guarantees equal rights and representation for all species. No more primitive worlds. No more blocked advancement. Every species will have the chance to grow, to contribute, to reach their full potential. The voting began. On screens around the chamber, numbers climbed rapidly. Species after species registered their approval. Even the former council members voted yes. The results are final, Reed announced. With a unanimous vote, the new Galactic Charter is now law. The new Galactic Alliance is officially born. Cheers erupted throughout the chamber. Representatives who once wouldn't even speak to each other were embracing, celebrating together. Reed waited for the noise to die down before making his final announcement. 1 year ago, Earth was called primitive. Today, you have voted to make Earth the headquarters of the new alliance. Not because we demanded it, but because we proved something important. True strength isn't about weapons or technology. It's about wisdom. About knowing when to fight and when to show mercy. About lifting others up instead of pushing them down. He looked around the chamber one last time. The old council ruled through fear for 50,000 years. Let's see how much better we can do ruling through cooperation and respect. As the chamber erupted in applause again, Reed thought about how far they had come. Earth's revenge hadn't been about destruction or domination. Instead, they had taken the Council's greatest insult, being called primitive, and turned it into their greatest strength. They had shown the galaxy that being primitive just meant having room to grow, to change, to become something better. and now, together, they would all keep growing.